can guide a child from childhood through adulthood. You will please now play the video.
Is the most important job in the world. Here we have Abigail in the kitchen playing with her baby doll.
Yes, Abigail loved going to the garden. She loved making right choices, and she loved pleasing her mother. She especially enjoyed drinking the fresh mint tea after her nap. The end.
You are such a great reader, Abigail.
That's because you're such a great teacher, Mommy.
Well, supper's almost ready. Can you help me set the table?
I'm glad to help put the table up. I'm so hungry.
9 years later.
Hi, Mom. What's for supper? My stomach's growling as loud as a bear.
I'm making spaghetti. That should quiet all that growling. How was your day today? I want to hear all about it.
I really enjoyed our Peaceful Solution character education class today. Mrs. Huckins was talking with us about conformity and how just because everyone has to do something does not make it the right thing to do. She said we should never do anything that cause hurt or harm to ourselves or others.
She's right, Abigail. And it's better to say no and to stand alone than to partake in risk-taking behaviors, even if it seems cool and everyone's doing it.
You know, Mrs. Hawkins said that millions of teens my age get pregnant each year and have abortions because they are trying to fit in.
And the STD rate has skyrocketed because instead of saying no, teens are conforming to what society tells them is okay to do. I need you to understand, if you're ever feeling pressured, you can always come talk to me.
Thank you, Mom. I will.
Abigail is walking with her friend Bella at the park. They then run into their other friend, Melody. They begin to discuss what they plan to do after they graduate from high school.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. What's up with y'all?
We're just walking.
Oh, that's cool. Y'all know what I was thinking the other day? We're getting super close to graduation. Have y'all figured out what y'all are going to do next?
Well, I'm really considering going to nursing school.
Oh yeah, you have talked about that a lot lately. Y'all, I'm instead of going to law school. What about you?
I really enjoy working with children, so I was thinking about being a teacher. Now, are you kidding? Teachers don't get any money besides. Come back to school every day. Plus, teachers get shot there too, you know.
Exactly. Why would you want to be a teacher?
Say what you want, but both of you guys know that I wanted this since I was little. True.
Yeah, that is true. You always wanted to be the mom we played as little kids.
I'm hungry. Do you guys want to go get food?
Yeah, sure.
After graduation, Abigail decided to volunteer her time at a local daycare center so she could learn more about children.
Abigail responded, "Yes, Mother," and walked to her room and laid down on her bed for a nap. Yes, Abigail loved going to the garden. She loved making right choices, and she loved pleasing her mother. She especially enjoyed drinking the fresh mint tea after her nap. The end.
Thanks for reading to us, Miss Reed. We like it when you come to our class.
You're welcome, and you are all such great listeners. Please pack up. It's time for a snack.
A snack?
Abigail, you are such a great teacher. The children look forward to you coming every week.
What can I say? I love children, and they love me.
Well, we'll hope to see you again next week.
Definitely.
10 years later, Abigail is married and has finally become a mother. Abigail and her daughter went to visit her mother, now a grandmother.
Hi, Abby. It's my grandbaby. She looks just like you did when you was a baby.
Yeah, she probably cries as loud as I did.
Oh, Abigail, you weren't that bad. You was crying tears of joy. You are going to be a great and wonderful mother.
I'm just going to try to be as great as a mother as you were to me. I never felt like I had to go through anything alone.
Well, the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program was where I learned everything I taught you. You know, your father and I always wanted what was best for you. Let me hold my grandbaby. Okay. You are a wonderful wife, daughter, and mother. You know, your father and I are always here for you. I want you to remember that.
We can break the cycle. We can be the ones who end child neglect, child abuse, and 50 million abortions each year. We can make the difference for our future generations. Choose to start learning and practicing the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program today. You don't have to let your circumstances define you. You have the opportunity to do great things. We can create a generation that only knows what it feels like to be loved, cared for, and respected. It's up to each of us to do better. We've been educated on how to love, accept, and respect each other. It's our responsibility. What choices will you make?
The end. Or is it just the beginning? It's never too late to change hearts and minds to build positive character with the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program.
Thank you all for watching that video, and at this time now, this concludes our portion, and we will turn it over to our partners in peace.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank, first of all and foremost, the House of Yahweh for allowing us to use their facilities today again. Also, thank you for inviting me back, David and Chris and everyone here. Katan, David, everyone that's been teaching has been doing a really spectacular job again. It's really great to see all the work that's being done throughout the world. I really enjoyed that India presentation this morning. It was really wonderful to see people so far away taking hold of the peaceful solution. But today I wanted to kind of give you an update on the South Texas and Laredo area. It's been a while. I think the last conference we had was, what, 4 years ago? So, you know, I kind of wanted to give you even a personal testimony of what I've been doing the last 4 years. Back in 2020, early 2020, when COVID hit, I had already been planning on moving to the Abilene area where the Peaceful Solution headquarters is. And right before COVID-19, the first case of COVID-19 in Laredo, I was encouraged to make the move here. But I was always worried about if I left the Laredo area, you know, how would we continue to teach the Peaceful Solution? Because we needed it there. We'd been there 16 years. And when the COVID hit, nobody was coming to classes anymore. They couldn't come in person. So all the classes had to be done online or over the phone, you know, through WhatsApp or Skype or whatever social media was available. And so I was able to make that move, and really since then, we've been doing classes online. We've been doing classes over the phone, myself and other teachers from the Laredo area and here in Abilene. So we really haven't missed a beat. And we still have in the Laredo area, and I'm supposed to show you a slide of the Laredo area. There it is. Is that it? It's not Laredo. Huh. Well, let me get to it. There we go. The Laredo area and South Texas area in general, we're still working with Child Protective Services. Since 2000, we probably received estimates of probably 500 to 600 people, okay? Now, a lot of those people that come to the Peaceful Solution, they don't actually, some of them don't finish classes because they're only with Child Protective Services for a couple months while they're under investigation, but we've been able to expose many parents and children to the Peaceful Solution program through Child Protective Services when they send them to us, at least for the duration that they're being investigated or they're under the Child Protective radar. So it's really been an awesome thing because, again, everyone that's participating in the classes has to do it online now. So it's been working out very well for us. Also, at this time, I'm gonna be moving up to the Pacific Northwest to a city called Seattle, Washington. It's a place that I used to live for a little while. I used to also, it's up in my neck of the woods. I'm from Alaska, as you all know, or you might remember. And I want to just give you kind of a brief history of this gentleman. His name is Kurt Myers. Before I came a Peaceful Solution instructor, Kurt is somebody that I know very well. Before I became a Peaceful Solution instructor, though, of course, you all know I have a long history with the Department of Corrections in Alaska. I spent 20 years of my life in juvenile and adult facilities. So I had a history, and I had a really bad history. And this particular gentleman here, I want you to listen to his testimony, but he'll tell you, I got him involved in some really, negative character has no generation gap either. You do understand that, right? Negative character has no generation gap. I'm 21 years older than him, but I want you to hear from Cert some of the past escapades and how, we're able to turn things around by positive moral character. But just remember, positive moral character has no generation gap, but so does negative character. It's all about the choices that we decide to make. And at this time, I would like to go ahead and play the video of our guest speaker here, Curt Myers. He works for the Washington Department of Commerce, and I'll turn the video over.
Hello, everyone. My name is Curt Myers. I am a justice reform advocate, a prison and reentry specialist, and I currently work at the Washington State Department of Commerce, administering grants to nonprofit organizations serving the prison reentry community across Washington State. When I was contacted and asked to speak at the Peaceful Solutions Conference this year, the theme being positive character having no generation gap, I was excited at the prospects. You see, positive character development, for me, has been a long journey. You know all those fancy titles I rattled off in my introduction there? Reform advocate, reentry specialist, state grant manager. Those titles took a long time to earn and a lot of work to retain. If I were to tell you how my life's journey started out and the places that I've been throughout its course, you might not believe me. But even so, it does well to explain why I am, in fact, so grateful for where I am today and what I do to live out my life's purpose. Much like most people, my family growing up was a mixed bag of healthy and unhealthy influences. My parents tried their best to be a positive force in my life and steer me in the right direction, but they also modeled some unhealthy, negative behaviors, such as emotional abuse, sometimes physical, as well as alcohol and substance abuse. My mother's side of the family is particularly plagued with these kinds of influences. She grew up in a house of 6 kids with a father who was a mean alcoholic and a mother who suffered from various mental health challenges, particularly manic depression and bipolar disorder. And although all these dysfunctionalities also made for a very creative, tremendously hilarious, fun-loving, and altogether interesting group of characters to get to know, from the beginning, the scene was not set to favor intergenerational success, especially when it came to developing positive character or becoming a high achiever. As I grew into childhood and early adolescence, I was proving to be a chip off the old block. Due to my rule-breaking and troublemaking tendencies, I was often compared to my mother's brother, who I called Uncle Willie, as he spent the bulk of his teenage and young adult life in and out of juvenile and correctional institutions. He used to write me from prison whenever he heard that I had gotten into trouble, smoking cigarettes, stealing from the store, etc., and tried to dissuade me from that sort of poor decision-making. But ultimately, there was too little attention paid to me at home as I matured into a teenager. And so negative traits continued to develop in me. It was around that time that in my life that my Uncle Willie was finally released from prison. My parents, lost about what to do with me constantly getting into trouble, sent me to live and work with him for a couple of summers in a row, hoping that he may be able to set me straight. While he proved to be a positive influence in some areas, helping to instill in me values I hold even to this day, such as good work ethic, confidence, industriousness, he was also still very much struggling with adhering to his own moral values, falling back into old destructive behaviors with me in tow. Behaviors such as stealing, drinking, smoking, deceiving and manipulating others for our own benefit, and a host of other immoral acts that really did nothing but encourage many of the negative character traits I was already battling with myself. Fast forward a couple years, and I would soon be following in my uncle's footsteps, right into the gates of prison. At 17, while inebriated and playing with a gun that I thought was not loaded, I made the horrifying mistake of pulling the trigger while pointing it at my 16-year-old friend. Because of this momentary lapse of judgment, my friend lost his life, and I would spend 15 years, 7 months, and 23 days as an inmate of the Washington State Department of Corrections. Now, 23 years later, the gravity of that mistake still weighs heavily on my heart, and many others, as it always will. Yet that same gravity is also what kept me grounded during my incarceration. With a mind that I could potentially salvage something of value from this terrible loss, I made use of my time by working to foster my own development, my own character, trusting that character development would ultimately make me a greater benefit to others and one day a better steward of my community. Thus, utilizing the time I had to my advantage, I went on to earn 2 associate's degrees and 2 vocational certificates while incarcerated. That not only bolstered my employability, credibility, and knowledge base, but it gave me something immeasurably more valuable, a much-needed sense of self-worth. Further, having been a direct beneficiary of numerous correctional education efforts, I felt it incumbent upon me to create a positive ripple effect outward, helping to expand these kind of opportunities for others so that there exists some reliable means of rehabilitation inside of our state prisons as well as upon release. Since my release in 2016, I graduated from the University of Washington's Milgard School of Business with a bachelor's degree in business administration, and I've had the honor of serving many roles working in the space of prison reform and reentry for the last 5 years. As the Peaceful Solutions character curriculum points out, when we make a mistake or a bad choice, we should pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get back on track to a true moral character. As for my Uncle Willie, I guess what they say is true. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He also went on to do similar work. You all may know him as William Krause, a 21-year representative of the Peaceful Solution. I believe our stories combine to make an excellent case for the notion that positive character indeed has no generation gap. Thank you all for having me, and I wish you all well on your journey towards true moral character.
Am I back? Yes. Okay. So anyway, you know, as you can tell from his testimony, you know, when I originally got out of prison, I had which most guys that get out of prison do. When you're in prison, you have every intention of making great choices when you get out. You just know what you're going to do. You know, you're going to get involved, you know, with the Peaceful Solution. And many of us learned of the Peaceful Solution when we were in prison. But when we got out those doors, reality hit. And many of us fell back into our old ways. And for a couple years, you know, I was dragging Curt around, getting Curt in trouble when his mother entrusted me to try to, you know, get him on the right track. And a couple years after that, he ended up with a 15-year prison sentence in Walla Walla State Penitentiary for murdering one of his friends. But as Curt indicated, things turned around. Okay, he started implementing some of the things that he learned from the Peaceful Solution, and here he is today making better choices, encouraging others to make right choices, and I'm really pleased that he joined us this conference, and I would like to give Curt another hand for coming. Do we still have the slides here? Because now I'm going to move on to a place a little further away, if I can get to it. I got to go through all those again. Patience is a positive character trait. Okay. Self-control, you know. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going the other way. Let's see. Oh, wow. I got to go through the whole deal, huh? Okay. Well, we'll get there. All right. We're almost there. All right. So we got Seattle. Okay. Now we're traveling to the United Kingdom, where we're going to meet a young man, a 6-year-old. This 6-year-old that it looks kind of like Berkshire. I had to look it up because I wasn't even sure how to pronounce that, but it's actually Berkshire, United Kingdom. It's in South UK there in England. It's a city, I think, that has about 9 million people, and this young man, Micaiah Solanke, he somebody that myself and Chris Heiler teach classes to every once a week. I think it's every Friday night, the time difference. And I'm not sure who's teaching who, you know. This young man is he's only 6 years old, but he's teaching us a lot about humility and how you're never too young to choose positive moral character in your life. And so I have a brief video from Micaiah, so let's all give him a warm welcome. You can play the video.
Hello everyone, my name is Micaiah from the UK. Thank you for letting me talk about peaceful solutions, because it helps me every day. With the peaceful solution, I learned that I must show respect to everyone and be kind to them, even if they are not kind to me. It is not right to get angry. Peaceful Solutions has taught me I must always pause before I touch anything. If there's someone say you lie, then lie is okay. It is okay. So I'll do my best to not be upset. Respect that answer. So when I play with my cousins, or my friends, I am allowed to ask first. And I teach students that as well. When you teach, you must always say it in a kind words. I also learned that you have to practice self-control. Sometimes I get upset and I find it hard to stay calm. So I go and speak to my mummy. And I use positive words and actions to figure it out. Peaceful Solution helps me today. It's important to keep humans, animals, and plants safe. You should look after all possessions of a property, even if it doesn't belong to you, and look after the environment by putting trust in the bear. Thank you for listening to my Peaceful Solution speech.
That's really great to see the young people and you know, so far away, you know, taking hold of this program and I mean, look at that. At 6 years age, you know what I was doing when I was 6? I wasn't doing that, okay? And I want to encourage all the parents that are watching this. You know, these conferences actually stay up online for years and years. You can still watch all the past Peaceful Solution event, the conferences on Facebook. We have them all up there on our official Peaceful Solution page. You know, go back and watch some of these, but parents, get involved. You know, get your children involved. You know, the children, again, you know, positive character has no generation gap. Nobody likes to be stolen from. Nobody likes to be lied to. Nobody likes to be teased and bullied, whether you're 60 years old like myself or you're 6 years old like Micaiah, right? All of us want to be treated with that respect and honor and care and concern that brings peace to everyone. It doesn't bring war when you treat others the right way. And at this time, I really want to thank you again for allowing me to come again to the conference this year. And at this time, I'm really not sure who I'm turning it over to. Anybody know? The other side? Okay. Excuse me? Oh. This is a great honor here. I don't think I've ever got to introduce Aaron DeFreitas. Everyone give Aaron DeFreitas a hand.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You're too kind. I hail from the beautiful country of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, it's a beautiful country. It used to be a wonderful place. You know, I wanted to bring a whole bunch of slides and everything, but I'd just be repeating what everybody done show. You know, for the sake of time, just remember what you saw. All the crimes and all the problems that is taking place in the world. Trinidad is a very small country. You know, it's less than 2,000 square miles, but we account for, well, we're 6 on the crime index. We're the 6th worst country to be in. You know, and you know, once again, I want to say thank you all for inviting me here. Thanks to the author, Dr. Israel Hawkins, for creating such a wonderful program. Thanks for everyone who put this together, for you guys just being here to listen to me. You know, the Peaceful Solution to me has been, you know, it's my life. Without the Peaceful Solution, I don't think I could stand myself. You know, and for those who know me, you know, I'd be just like everybody else in the world, just making mistakes after mistakes and bumbling around. You know, probably Catan would be writing me, you know, and I'm like, I didn't know, could I make better choices? But that's what we've been, we the people at Trinidad been dealing with. You know, people have been stuck in a cycle of immorality for the sake of financial gain. Because it's a small country, we have a lot of tourism. You know, it's right off, it's 7 miles off the northwestern side of Venezuela. It's a Caribbean country, you know, white sand, blue beaches, you know, real nice fishing, real nice everything. But the hearts and mind of the people has been, you know, just continually degrading, just like every other part of the world. You know, we've gotten to a point to where, you know, and I wanted to, you know, it's so much murders and killing. I want to mention something, you know, what the Peaceful Solution mean to me and why I love the Peaceful Solution. You know, the kindergarten, it's stressed on about do not steal. The whole kindergarten series is just about do not steal, and it explains everything about how you don't steal. You know, the rights of privacy, authority, and we learn all these different things. And when we get to the grade, then we get to grade 5, and I love the character unit, because as I grow and I start to understand, you know, time you get to page 4 of the character unit, you know, character, everyone has it. But where does it come from? And the theme we're going with today is, you know, we're bridging the gap because the Peaceful Solution and proper character doesn't have no age gap, generation gap. You know, when you get to the 4th page, it talks about the foundation, the building blocks of character. and that you have genetics. You know, we all have genetics. We all come from a mom and a dad, and we have that genetic material that makes us up. You know, we have that genetics. Then it has family values, the things we learn, the things we deem important. You know, then we go to influences and influences are around us all the time. Everyone, I was watching the little thing that went on before me, the video where they talk about conformity. You know, and conformity is so powerful, but it's there. It's in the influences. Then we have experiences. You know, the things we experience, things that I experience that will bring joy to me. The smell of cookies might remind me of a time when I was growing up. The smell of fruits might remind me of a great time. The smell of fruits might remind somebody of the horrors of getting loaded in the back of a truck and riding with rotten fruits for the miles till they get trafficked somewhere on some other part of the world. So what would make me joyful won't make you joyful. That's with and then it comes to choices. You know, choices. And before I talk about choices, I want to mention the last one where it deals with environment. And this stands out to me because the environment is made up of everybody, every person. And the things that take place in our environment, it either forms stepping stones or barriers, stumbling stones to each and every one of us. And if we conform to these negativities, because there is positivity in the world, it's right here, peaceful solution. We're all living it. We're all pushing it. You know, and in the country of Trinidad and Tobago, there's a small group that's been doing a lot of work, great work. They've been teaching. They've been trying to mend the gap, you know, teaching the young, teaching the old, to realize that they have that ability to make a choice. Most of the people I've talked to, you know, the older ones, they never knew that they had a choice. They just thought they had to conform to everything. Just go along with the crowd, just get involved, just have a great time. You know, everybody's doing it. Just like all over the world, people think that, hey, this is how we make money, this is how we survive. We sell drugs. You know, this is how we make money, this is how we survive. You got to be packing. You can't just work hard because you'll never make it. You got to take. If you find an opportunity to take something that's not yours, they believe, yes, you got to do that. You got to be dealing. You got to be doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. But the peaceful solution has been teaching that we have a choice. We got to be the example we want to see in the world. And that's what we're doing. We're taking time out of our days, taking time. You know, the Trinidad group that I've been working with, they've been working hard, you know, and classes are early. Classes are early and they're there. You know, they could spend time doing other things, but we get up early and we get to it. Early in the morning, 6 o'clock, they got to be in class. They better be in class because I'm calling. You know, it's like, hey, class, we got to go. And it's a wonderful thing when you see people actually, and even the young and the old, you know, the young are doing it. They're giving the old is actually giving the young opportunities to get involved, to partake, to participate in the classes. And this is the wonderful thing that I see in the peaceful solution. And that's why I chose to make the peaceful solution a huge part of my life. Well, it is my life. Without the peaceful solution, I think I don't know. I don't know. The future would be bleak, you know. Before I have a video presentation I want to share with everybody. I have one thing I wanted to, about the work that is going on. I wanted to talk a little bit more about, you know, there's a verse in it's a quote from the Peaceful Solution. It says, educate, educate, educate in true moral character and save the world. See, I was like, why not just say educate? I get it. But then when you realize what the author was trying to put in there for us to know, we got to educate. First, we got to educate ourselves. If we don't know how to use the peaceful solution properly, now I've seen people try to start off with, well, we want responsibility in the youths, so I'll just teach them the responsibility unit. You have to follow the order, the sequence in which which way it goes. You get the best benefits of the program when you start off. Teach them do not steal. Then you teach them about their character. Well, if they understand honesty, then they understand that, being dishonest, that messes up their character. They won't be able to maintain a positive character. Then you have acceptance, self-control. Because once you understand and accept that, hey, this character is what is important to me, and there's rules to attaining a positive character, you have to accept that. And once you accept it, you got to maintain it, continuing to have self-control, self-respect for yourself, for others, because you have to accept that all people are not grown up the same way. All people don't have the same culture. People need more time to learn. People need more time to take on the character that we desire to see in them. But if we are impatient with them, well, I want to see it now. We're just destroying what we was trying to accomplish. And that's why I realized when teaching the peaceful solution. So we've been going through it slowly. With the Trinidad group, we've been going slow. That's one of the teachers that work with me. He say, we like to break it down, go slow, chew it up, then regurgitate it like a cow, chew it up again. So most of the times in an hour, we just going through one page, just one page, sometimes not even a whole page, but we're going through slow so that we could get it, so that we could educate ourselves, then we could educate the younger generation, educate those who is looking at us to be our role model, because that should be our value. Because every one of us, believe it or not, somebody is watching you and paying attention to everything you do. We're in here right now, but when we walk out of here, we better be an ambassador for peace. And then we educate. Again, educate. Educate the young. Educate our offspring, educate everybody that is around us. And then we could save the world. But that, I probably talked too much. They said I wouldn't do it. But let's play the video. We got a video, right? All right. Thank you.
We are here because we want to make a difference. Agree? We are here because we do not want to see our future leaders like this. Agree?
We are seeing changes. The teachers in the schools are outside. They're saying that they're seeing a difference in the children who are being taught the peaceful solution.
Okay, hi, my name is Joan Patrick. I'm principal of the Popo Bears Early Childhood Care and Education Center. My children age from ranges of 2 to 5 years old, and we have benefited from your program. And I want to say a special thanks to you, Mr. Yisrael Hawkins, for your vision, for your insight in teaching young minds, having that kind of vision on behavior and respect and ownership and that kind of thing. I always say that my children have benefited in such a huge way. Their attitude, their behavior, whatever program you have, whatever it is, I will always be your full supporter. And I want to say thank you so much on behalf of my children. I want you all to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peaceful Solution. Thank you, Peaceful Solution.
Thank you, Peaceful Solution.
Coming all the way from Trinidad and Tobago here in the Caribbean, we love you.
Hi, my name is Betty, and I would just like to say that I've been with the Peaceful Solution
program for about 3 years now. I've known Miss Rebecca, and it does wonders for my classroom. I like the idea of having everything in manuals, and I believe that if we really start from the preschool, we can make a change. So in 10 years' time or so down the road, if we continuously teach the Peaceful Solution program, we will very well see a change. And I believe in it. I've been working with it. I have been doing it with my children. Even without Miss Rebecca, I work with it. I remind them every day what it is to have self-control, how they should be kind, how they should treat others. And I think it's a great program, and I will recommend it to every institution.
The Character Education Network, inviting you to the grand opening of the Character Education Network Center at number 585 Southern Main Road, Rosilac. Let's bring back principles of respect, honesty, and consideration for one another in our community.
Now, one of the books I'd like to show you that I work with, this is the ownership. This is Unit 1 of the kindergarten series. And in this book, we teach children the very important concept of ownership, that you own things and they belong to you, you have rights to the things you own, and you can take care of your things, you have to take care of your things, you can lend it, you can have certain rules regarding those things.
Somehow we expect to teach them violence, expose them to dishonesty by our actions, and we expect them to make the right choice, so that they will not hurt themselves, others, and the environment. Does that sound fair? You know, it's like we drinking the poison and expecting someone else to die, when we're taking all these bad behaviors.
They're saying now that we need to know a little bit about your character, a little in depth of who you are, and how can you contribute. And are you the right person to contribute or to be hired for my organization and my business?
Hello once again, everyone. We have one more journey to take before we conclude our day. And of course, this has been a journey of a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And everything we have learned has been a challenge. And I'd like to first to say hola to mi amigos and amigas, estudiantes, maestros de Mexico. We have such a great opportunity, I would say. And I'll tell you a little bit how this started. In 2017, we received a message from Mexico in English. And I talked to the author of The Peaceful Solution. He said, I always liked Mexico. We really need to work with them and to get something going down there. So on my first journey that I took to this particular part of Mexico, we had been to Mexico before with The Peaceful Solution in certain parts with Benjamin, David, myself, and a lot of other people went down to Nuevo Laredo and worked with El Presidente, Benjamin Gallivan Gomez. But this was in a different area, and my first trip, I went into the classroom, and the person that introduced me could speak English really well. And I got in front of the class, and they said, "Hola, clase. Este será el maestro por hoy." In other words, "Hello, class, this is your teacher for today." I'm like, I looked because I didn't understand what they said. And I thought, well, I'm glad everybody else here speaks English. And I found out I was the only one that spoke English. That every message I had gotten had been translated through Google Translate. And I learned very quickly to say, "Oh, lo siento. Mi no español. Mi español is muy mal." In other words, I don't speak Spanish. It's really bad. And I learned that very quickly. But I was able to get a translator that could translate, and that was probably 120 trips ago. Mexico has become a huge part of the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. I can tell you, when I came back and I met with the author and I was telling him, I said, everybody there spoke Spanish. And he looked at me like, well, you went to Mexico, you know that, right? I'm like, you know, but I expected people by the border to speak English. He goes, well, what's the problem? I said, I don't speak Spanish. He goes, well, you'll fix that. And I still am trying to fix that. I haven't fixed it yet. And I said, but we only have one book in Spanish. He said, you'll fix that too. And, you know, one thing about it, we've had a great group of people come together in the schools that have been established there. And right now, I think we're close to 20 books that have been translated into Spanish now that can be used. You're going to get to see a presentation of some of the schools we have there. You know, and the school has drawn in many people, and it's led to other countries wanting to get involved. Whether it be in Colombia, Bogota, Medellin, Barranquilla, Lima, Peru, Caracas, Venezuela, a lot of other people have wanted to join in. And of course, we're able to use this establishment that we have in Mexico as kind of a headquarters for our Spanish literature, to get this information out, to get it going, and to pass it around. You know, in our school itself, we've had people travel from many countries just to participate, just to learn how to teach the peaceful solution. And that's where they're living right now, and they're training in that school every day, because that's the full-time job that they want to do. But not just Spanish, we've also found out when dealing, we needed Portuguese. And we have classes in Portuguese. We found out through the many refugees that are coming into the United States, all walks of life, from the Republic of Congo and many other parts of Africa, also traveling through. And the challenge being, you've got many different languages, to where we've even had to translate into French. So these things have been a challenge, but one thing we have found, that everything works out when we put the effort to it. It doesn't go fast, and it takes a lot of hard work from a lot of people. But when everybody gets involved, you know, you can finally understand something, and it's no more, gringo, gringo, gringo. You know, because that's pretty much how it is. You know, get your phone, get Google Translate, you know, we'll tell you. But you know what? You make a lot of friends, a lot of great friends through the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. And right now, I'd like to introduce you to some videos that have been not just in one part of Mexico. You know, everybody wants to go to Cancun, Cozumel, the nice parts of Cabo San Lucas. They want to see the beautiful parts of Mexico, but that's not really where the peaceful solution goes. The peaceful solution goes out to the areas where, in America, it's hard to understand what people go through. If you've ever been to a country, and sadly I've seen it, where you see 7-year-olds that have hung themselves because life has too much pressure, where people will give their lives to cross a river just for hope, where people live in houses that Americans would not call barns, where people work 80 hours a week for $60 US in pay, and they still have to provide for their children. When you go to countries and cities like Lima, Peru, of 20+ million people, and most people don't have a car because they can barely afford groceries. When you go to a place like Caracas, Venezuela, where everybody's fleeing because there's nothing of value there, just getting food is a challenge. But yet these people are still seeking character education. So when you see these videos, it's kind of hard for those of us that have never left the United States to understand just how difficult it is, what these people go through. And I have a lot of people ask me, hey, can I go to Mexico with you? Sure. Do you have a passport? No. Well, you can still go, you just can't come back. So just remember that. You need a passport to get back in the country, not to get out of the country. But I want you, when you see these videos, realize life is very, very different for people around this world. Just as we've seen in Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Zambia, it's very, very different for many people. So at this time, I would like to introduce the video.
Hello, my name is Carlos Fonseca. I've been studying the Peaceful Solution Character Education program for many years now. It has definitely lived up to its potential, having changed my heart and mind. Today I consider myself a forever student of the Peaceful Solution. Having said that, it's my honor and privilege to present to you guys the following students and teachers representing the Spanish community. Que la verdadera paz de la solución pacífica esté con cada uno de ustedes.
Yo soy Ángel y llevo 2 años en el programa de la solución pacífica y me ha ayudado a respetar para pedir permiso antes de tocar una pertenencia, no dañar los sentimientos de las demás personas y ser paciente. Hola, yo me llamo Ximena y llevo 1 año en la escuela de solución pacífica y desde que vengo a las clases dejo de mentir y no toco la pertenencia del dueño sin su permiso y sigo viviendo bien.
Hola, mi nombre es Javier, tengo 11 años y tengo 2 años practicando la solución pacífica. Me ha cambiado mucho el ser respetuoso, ser honesto, ser firme y persistente, en ser una buena persona con los demás.
Hola, mi nombre es América. Tengo casi 1 año en el programa y he aprendido a tener más autocontrol para tomar mis decisiones. He sido más respetuosa, más amable. Sí me ayudó demasiado.
Hola, mi nombre es Zoe y llevo aproximadamente 2 meses en la solución pacífica y durante este tiempo he aprendido sobre el autocontrol de mis emociones, sobre analizar lo que voy a decir antes de lastimar a otros. También he aprendido la diferencia entre mi carácter y mi personalidad, sobre los valores morales y sobre lo que consumo y cuidar que no influya en mi carácter.
Buenas tardes, soy Jane Hawkins, profesor de la Solución Pacífica aquí en México. Soy de Colombia, tengo 19 años y he estado estudiando la Solución Pacífica desde que era un niño, más o menos 11 años. Me ha sido muy útil, me ha servido para muchos aspectos de mi vida, me ha servido para tener más autocontrol sobre mis decisiones, la manera que pienso, sobre tener un carácter más positivo, sobre cómo me afectan las influencias que están a mi alrededor y muchísimas otras cosas que me han sido muy útil para mi vida diaria y más sigue siendo para el resto de mi vida.
Hola, mi nombre es Alejandro Zambraña Méndez, tengo 52 años. Tengo poco tiempo estudiando el programa de la Solución Pacífica de Educación en Carácter, aproximadamente 3 meses. En lo personal, en cuanto al programa, es algo extraordinario, ya que he entendido que es una enseñanza profunda en lo que es el carácter y lo que es personalidad. Ahora debo poner en práctica lo aprendido, reconociendo que no es fácil, eliminando muchas cosas negativas en mi persona.
Hi, my name is Francesca Hawkins. I am a teacher of the Peaceful Solution and I started studying the Peaceful Solution when I was 11 years old and I have learned a lot of incredible things that I don't even have enough time to name all of them, but I want to talk about the ones that have helped me the most since I started applying into my life. The first one is that it's okay to say no, that I don't need to make excuses or feel guilty when I want to say no, and that it's totally fine and there's nothing wrong with expressing my feelings in a respectful way instead of keeping everything to myself, and that I have to be aware of the influences that surrounds me and filter out those that can affect my character in a negative way.
Hola, mi nombre es Isabel Tenorio, estudiante y maestra del programa de la Solución Pacífica de Educación del Carácter desde hace aproximadamente 4 años. En lo personal, el programa me ha servido bastante, en particular para saber controlar mis emociones y así poder expresarlas de una manera adecuada. También teniendo en cuenta que mis decisiones las debo de basar en hechos y no en emociones. Estoy en la firme determinación de mantener un carácter moral positivo para ser un modelo a seguir en mi familia, en la sociedad y el mundo. Y sé que lo puedo lograr porque tengo a mi disposición el mejor y único programa.
En este momento los estudiantes están aquí presentes en la actividad número 2, todos a bordo del tren del dueño del tablón de anuncios, donde los estudiantes tienen sus vagones y ahorita nos van a decir qué es lo que aprendieron de esta unidad de dueño. Adelante.
Yo aprendí que soy dueño de las cosas que me pertenecen y eso me convierte en un dueño.
Muy bien, Richie.
Me ocupo de las cosas que tengo, mi sombrero, mi libro y mi teléfono rojo brillante.
Muy bien, Chelsea.
Honestamente me gano las cosas que son mías ahorrando monedas de 5 pesos y esta nueva y brillante moneda de 10 pesos.
Excelente. Dalton.
¿Puedes adivinar? Más me pertenece desde mi cabeza a mis pies todo mi cuerpo.
Muy bien, Andrea.
Debo ser honesta para que me gane mis pertenencias.
Excelente, Ángel.
Tuyo es una pertenencia que te pertenece y mío es una pertenencia que me pertenece.
Muy bien, Andrew.
Correcto.
Sí, ¿cuándo es un toque correcto?
Wonderful presentations, and it's really amazing to see the work that's going on, with our neighbors in South America. It's really, really incredible. I do have an announcement. That concludes our learning portion for the afternoon. I have one announcement. In keeping with the theme, positive character has no generation gap, let's conform to the peaceful solution. We have displays covering all ages, children, youths, and adults. There are also photo booths set up where you can have your pictures taken as a memorial for the 2023 one-day event. Please take advantage of all these displays, both for learning and enjoyment. Some of the displays will have activity sheets and tokens which you can ask for if you'd like to take them with you. The women will exit this building at 5 p.m., so our other promoters of peace on this side can come over and enjoy the displays. So please go ahead and enjoy the displays, and the men, you'll be able to take a look at them at 5. We also have a regularly scheduled Men Peaceful Solution class this evening at 5:30 p.m., and you're welcome and encouraged to join for a great learning experience. Everybody, you're welcome to go take a look at the displays now.